Hello, everybody. This is Chris C. Pup Sarai bringing you another edition of the Car Concierge Show, where we talk about the buying, the selling, the maintaining, the repairing of all of your vehicles. On today's show, we're going to be talking about dealerships, specifically the loss of two executives from the GM system. Um, More about um, the downfall of dealerships. Dealerships have been going down for quite some time. In my mind, it's been over the last 20, 30 years. Well, maybe less than that. All right, let's say it's been over the last 10 years that we've seen the degradation of what we knew as the family owned car dealership. And I think that's what's been causing all the problems when it comes to dealerships and the turnover ratios and the ability to sell cars extremely over MSRP. Just the idea that people are just getting gouged when they purchase vehicles these days, and it's very sad. It's very sad. Being in the automotive dealership or automotive industry for quite some time, I've always thought that it was important that people had an opportunity to get good vehicles at great prices, and being able to have the ability to drive back and forth to work, to take their children to school, and all of these things that make vehicles very important. Specifically, if you're not in an area where the public transportation is good, and it's not something that can help you out in your life. So it's extremely important that you know people have the ability to purchase cars, purchase affordable cars, and to continue to move around as they need to get their lives done. Um, we've seen a lot of problems when it comes to automotive dealerships. I personally think it's pretty much the what's happening to pretty much all industries in the world right now, specifically real estate and housing is happening in the automotive industry, and it was happening in the automotive industry before it started happening in real estate. I think I can honestly attest that I've worked at several dealerships, been a GM service manager at several dealerships out Indiana and California, one in Texas, not just for a second, but in Texas. But at every, well, not every, almost every dealership that I've worked for, when I started working for them, they were family owned. And it was the original franchisor that purchased the dealership when I started there. And almost in every case, before I left, and in some cases, the reason that I left was because the company was bought out by a corporation or a entity that owned several dealerships. And that is what is, and this is pretty much the downfall of a lot of things in our day and age. Um, the the corporate entity has come in and started to purchase dealerships, housing, stores, running small mom and pop stores out of business by out competing them in pricing of products. The Walmarts, even the Walmarts have even run out the even other corporations. We got Sears is gone, we got Kmart is gone. All these things are being outbid or out. They've been outright being outright. I mean, they're corporations to the point where their money comes from so many entities that if this particular entity, this dealership, this store, if it doesn't make money, then the corporation is going to still continue to run. And that's not the same for, say, a franchisee or of a dealership, or a person that's, a mom and pop store location. They don't have that backing. And it's a big problem. It continues to be a big problem. It's it was a major problem in the automotive industry. I've seen several of the dealerships that I work for get sold out to corporations, and once the corporations take over, they institute certain rules and regulations that cause for a lot of turnover when it comes to the employees, and it's bad. It's bad. One particular situation that really reminds me or sets precedent for me about this is my first dealership experience when I moved out to California was the best working experience that I had in California, and it was beautiful because it was ran by a young lady. She wasn't a young lady. She was in her 80s. Just one of the best owners that I've ever worked with, ever worked for. She was trained how to run dealerships by her father. He owned the dealerships prior to giving her this dealership, and she knew what she was doing. Everything worked well together. And the way that I know for a fact that it worked so well together was the simple factor turnover ratio. No one left there. Every person that worked at that dealership had been there for over 4 or 5 years, some 10, 12 years. My mentor, he had worked there, 10 years prior to me starting there, and he worked there until several years ago, even after the corporation took over, but because he had a grandfather contract. Now, in the end, it turned out to be kind of bad for him, but good, because he always had a check coming from them, but when the corporation took over, they kicked him out of his position as a service director, and they'd start bouncing him around. But they couldn't fire him because of his contract. But they fired everybody else, and it always happens the same way. They bring you in. Well, they take over the corporation, of course. They bring you in. They say they're not going to fire anybody, and then you have to go through this process of getting rehired. I went through this several times at dealerships, so I know how it works. And they change everything over, and the big thing is when you go in to restart working for them, they present you with, in most cases, a different contract than you had prior. Specifically for this situation, at that particular dealership, my first dealership, it was a situation where the original owner had us in the service department, where everybody collected a percentage of gross pay for the service department, of all the money that came in the service department, and it was fantastic. Everybody's making fantastic money, over 6 figures in most cases. And then they came in, and then they changed it to an hourly pay plus commission situation, and of course you made less money. It was harder to, they had certain stipulations on how you can get bonuses, how bonuses could be taken away, and it was corporate mumbo jumbo that caused, no one really, then shortly after that they just started letting people go for just random reasons, and it was just bad for everybody. And I've seen this happen several times. It's not the only time this happened. Over the course of my automotive career, I can say that at least 4 dealerships changed ownership while I was working there, and 3 of them I know. 3 of them where the original franchisee or was there prior to getting taken over by a corporation. In every case, a full corporation took over those dealerships, and it was a hard time for a lot of people. And it continues to happen. I continue to see it happen. I continue to, watch the degradation of dealerships, and to be true be told, I am adding on to that degradation. I'm one of those guys where I started an online dealership. I sell cars. I use I'm working on the website so that people, to, I sell cars. I have my dealership license, so I can buy wholesale retail cars. I sell cars, and I don't need a big old building or a complex to do it. And just like Carvana and all these other situations where people are getting cars online, and Amazon has the new deal with Kia and Hyundai, people are moving quickly and quickly away from the purchase of vehicles at dealerships, having to go to dealerships. Now, one thing about a dealership that maintains them, and the reason I stayed in the automotive industry so long was because what really maintains a dealership is its service department. Because old, new, used cars, every car in the world needs maintenance. Every car needs to go to a service department, get its oils changed, get its tires rotated, new tires, breakdowns, all of that type of thing. So all dealerships are really maintained by their service departments. The service departments are what most dealerships make their money from if they don't have wide-ranging sales department. Parts department is just another entity as part of the service department. So, everybody has to get parts. Manufacturers, another thing that manufacturers are doing is making sure that these newer cars are extremely hard to work on. You have to have certain entities, certain computers, certain programs to work on these vehicles. And just the average, corner mechanic is not going to have these. So you're still having to go to the dealership to get this done. And that's where most dealerships are maintaining themselves off their service department. And that's where I stayed. That's where I made my bones in dealerships, and I continue to. I run some centers that work on cars, and it's dealerships. Just like many things, are starting to be entities of the past. They're always going to be around because they're the corner dealers of franchise or of manufacturers. They're the corner dealers of manufacturers. That's what they are. If you look at it in drug terms, the manufacturer is the dude that has all the weight, and then the dealerships are the places that the manufacturers give the pounds so they can distribute to the world. Because the dealer, gives out the manufacturer gives the dealer all his work, and then the dealer sells it for him. That's how it is. And so in that case, then the dealer is controlled by the manufacturer. It's just the way it is. And a big thing that happened to a lot of dealerships was, and a lot of reasons that these dealerships changed ownership and these corporations bought them out, was because a lot of these manufacturers were, a couple years back, a lot of these manufacturers were forcing these dealers to renovate their locations. If you were to look around, and specifically maybe Toyota's the best example I could give you. If you look around at all the Toyota dealerships, they all have the same front the front of the buildings in all of these dealerships are all the same, and nobody thinks it that way. And they weren't that way originally. You could tell. Specifically, a dealer. I was working at a Toyota dealership, and they tell you the manufacturer says, "Hey, we want all your front-facing buildings to look the same. So you need to renovate. We're going to provide the renovators for you. It's going to cost you $5 million. $5 million. I don't want to renovate. I like her. I might look well. For you to continue to sell our product, your facing front has to look like everybody's facing front. That's how we're going, and that's how we control, our dealers. So we want your facing front to look the same, and you're gonna buy this facing front from us. It's gonna cost you $5 million. You got to come with $5 million. That's something they can do. I mean, pretty something that McDonald's can do. Any franchisee is at the mercy of the franchise, or in this case the manufacturer. They're at their mercy. So a lot of people had to redo their face front for their dealership. It cost them a certain amount of money. I thought it was, I think somebody told me it's $5 million, but it could have been less, could have been more. I'm not sure, but I know that in particular, a couple dealerships couldn't even afford that. So they either went, had to get a loan from the manufacturer to get this done, or they didn't do it and the manufacturer slapped them with like not fees, but they slapped them with you'd have to pay a certain amount of money to not do the face front. They'd be like, all right, well, if you're not going to do the face front like we want to do the face front, we're going to charge you a certain additional amount of money because you're not pretty much obeying what we want done. So it's going to cost you more money anyway. So either you pay the $5 million to get it done, or you're going to be paying a certain amount of money to us because you're not getting it done. And this caused a lot of dealerships to lose their franchises. It's that simple. So, it's, I mean, I plan, as the years go, and as this, we continue to do this, and we do our check-ins, and we talk about manufacturers and all of these things. We're gonna do a lot of talk about dealerships. They're the cornerstone of automotive everything. We're going to talk about the new EV cars that are coming out, the new EV dealerships, the new manufacturers coming out. These are all important things when it comes to automotive, and specifically for you, because the future is nigh. They're going to shove electric vehicles down your throat, and there's a lot to learn, there's a lot to know, and just got to keep abreast of what's going on, so you're not being gouged in price as it comes to vehicles, gouged in price when it comes to maintenance, gouged in price when it comes to selling your car and getting money back when you turn your cars in. So real quick, on this episode, we're going to check out a little thing that they talked about when the GM, some GM executives that are leaving their post. We're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to get out of here. New show. We love it. We love cars. We love talking about cars. We're going to try to continue, have some consistency. Try to give you some good knowledge about cars, good knowledge about what you need to do when certain things happen to your cars, and we're just going to keep it smooth. So, all right, we're going to check out, real quick, we're going to check out a news post about the two GM executives that are leaving GM, and then, I'm going to let you guys get out of here, because I'm going to rant all the time about... There's no doubt that I'm going to rant about dealerships all the time. It's just going to be my thing. Because,
announced on March 12th that Gerald Johnson and Mike Abbott, two of its executives, will retire. The company has appointed Jens Peter Clausen, a former executive with Tesla, Lego, and Google, will replace Johnson, while Boris Sintonok, the current vice president of product and software, will serve as Abbott's interim replacement. These changes will take effect on April 2nd. The Detroit automaker noted that hiring Clausen is a substantial move as it attempts to surpass Tesla in producing batteries and powertrains. A Japanese chemical manufacturer, UBE Corporation, has recently announced plans to invest $500 million to build the first ever U.S. manufacturing facility that produces key chemicals in lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. The Louisiana project aims to strengthen the domestic battery supply chain by reducing the reliance on Chinese imports.
Now, I didn't even mean to get that second part in there, but they really didn't go into deep thought and what was going on with the GM executives. So, what we're gonna do.
Construction is set to begin mid-2026 with operations to follow shortly after. On March 13th, Cadillac unveiled its
So what we're gonna do real quick, we're gonna go over this quick article that I saw in the Detroit News, talking about it. So let's read that real quick. All right, so we're checking out the Detroit News, serving Michigan since 1873. All right, so let's make this big screen. All right, so GM longtime manufacturing lead to retire, new head of software leaves for health reasons. Two prominent General Motors Company executives are leaving the automaker. Gerald Johnson is retiring after 44-year career in manufacturing and labor, and Mike Abbott will depart for health reasons after less than a year leading the company's software team, GM said late Tuesday. This article is from March 12th. Johnson will be replaced by Jens Peter J.P. Clausen, who is coming from Google and experienced in global manufacturing, product engineering, and scaling operations, including heading EV propulsion systems at competitor Tesla Inc.'s Gigafactory 1. He most recently worked at Google data centers as vice president of engineering. GM said Abbott will be leaving GM to care for his health. The automaker hired the former Apple leader last May to lead the company's software team. Since his arrival, he has led significant advancements in his company's approach to software design, development, execution, and quality testing. GM said he also expanded the automaker's software team by recruiting leaders with backgrounds from Amazon, Apple, Google, Meta, and Microsoft. CEO Mary Barra said Abbott's contributions have been invaluable, and I look forward to him remaining part of the GM family as an advisor to me when his health permits. I also have the utmost trust in the strong bench of leaders in place. His recovery is the priority, and we wish him well. Abbott's departure comes as GM is just getting through some software quality issues that led to stop sales on some products, and as the company works on its software and service strategy. Boris Sintonok, currently GM's Vice President of Product and Software Services, was named interim head of department while GM conducts a hiring search. All right, here we go. Okay, we're talking about Gerald Johnson. Johnson will remain at GM through the end of the year and work in partnership with Clausen for a smooth transition. I wouldn't do that. GM called Johnson's leadership pivotal in effecting a major cultural transformation that underscored leadership, process discipline, continuous improvement, and waste elimination. In a statement, Barr said the company is immensely grateful for his time at GM, adding Gerald's leadership, vision, and relentless pursuit of excellence in manufacturing have left an indelible mark on GM. His impactful journey from joining the Fisher body plant in Euclid, Ohio, oh, he's from Fisher, to his integral role in GM's COVID-19 emergency response is a testament to his unwavering commitment and dedication. That's that. And yeah. So that's the sitch when it comes to those GM executives leaving. I thought it would be more aggressive, reasons, but them simple stuffs. I mean, Gerald Johnson's been there 44 years, so that's not a surprise. The other dude was having health issues, so if you're having health issues, that's way more important. So I'm not gonna sit here and act like this was GM fault, or this was a situation where bad stuff that was happening at GM caused them to quit, because that's kind of where I was going with it, but I was wrong. So in that case, no check engine light for that kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But what we will see about GM coming here in the near future is them having to deal with this whole EV thing, man. And I'm glad that extra little part of the interview came through about the place that's building a place that could, help with the manufacturing of these EV batteries for the future amount of electric vehicles that are coming down the pipeline, and that have to, excuse me, to some degree have to come out of America. If the Chinese and Japanese have a jump on us, BYD's is tight, VinFast is tight, Hyundai and Kia are ramping up their EV creation to the point where they're going to be able to dominate the market in some way, shape, or form. I'm telling you, the automotive market is changing drastically, my friends, drastically, and it's going to be something else. I mean, cars are just way too expensive nowadays, and the idea that electric vehicles are coming, and they're coming fast, and not only that, they are going to have to be priced in a way that people can afford them. In the world we live in, nothing is affordable anymore. I mean, that's what I'm talking about. Dealerships are being bought out by corporations just like homes. They're making housing unaffordable. They're making automotives unaffordable. Life is hard. So that's it, my friends. I'm gonna get up out of here. Hopefully this is recorded and y'all can hear this, and I can continue to start making this stuff work. Hopefully my microphone is starting working for real. It says it's working, so I'm just gonna go with it, and we're gonna continue to run it up. Okay. All right. So thanks for tuning in. This is Chris C. Pup Surratt. Another episode of the Car Concierge Show. Website is coming soon. Merch. If you need a car, hit me up. Just hit me in the DM. The complete Concierge Automotive Center is on its way. We're gonna be able to, sell your cars. Help you find the best places to get your cars repaired. Best we're gonna go through a process of telling you the best collision centers to take your vehicles to when you get to a oopsie, and we're gonna keep it moving. All right, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'm out. Peace.